even though we're nowhere near the time that a trade could happen. Of course, the Kevin Durant rumors never stop. That's where I want to hear your thoughts down below. Today's report's coming from Brian Windhorst of ESPN. What do you think about the fact that Kevin Durant is expected to be traded? A rumor is that they're going to build around Devin Booker. They're basically stuck with Bradley Beal unless a warm weather city is willing to trade for him. And they have to be a playoff team because I guess he doesn't want to move his family, which I understand completely. I do understand it. He holds the leverage. You do what you got to do. And it's also the Suns' fault that they got put in that position. No, it's more Matt Ishbia's fault. But Devin Booker's still a reasonable player to build around. I think you have Ryan Dunn, also Iguodala. I like those players. All right. There are pieces here. If you pick up Vasi Micic team option, you can also use that as a trade chip. So there's ways to get out of this, and there's ways for them to maybe be able to make some lemonade out of lemons. My whole thought is that if you look at this whole situation, I think it's rather interesting to think about the fact that they gave up so much. And I think they're obviously aware they won't get the picks. And I think they'd rather just get some quality players. So, what does that mean? Allegedly, when the Suns were discussing trade deadline trades for Mr. Kevin Durant, it was that they were reportedly looking for a massive haul. And that combined with Durant basically not wanting to be traded midseason and making that aware to any party that was interested. Those conversations that were discussed in the deadline more than likely will pick up again in the offseason, starting on draft night. And depending on how draft night goes, will reflect how free agency and the rest of the night, I guess the rest of the offseason goes. So Durant is 37. He'll only be limited to a 2-year extension of $120 million. So you look at this, I wonder, would the best case just be seeing if like Boston really does want to sell off Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday, and you're just like, if you send us KP and Jrue for KD, I think maybe you have to throw in Micic there. This is literally me off the top of my head. I'm not looking at any numbers. I believe it gets you to like 63, and then those other two are about like 62. I think you could do that, Micic and KD for Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, and you'll end up below the second apron, because it's the biggest thing that needs to happen here. And obviously, the other deals that I just look around the league, it's going to be interesting. I think the other most realistic deals that could happen, if we're going to be quite honest, are Miami, if they're cool with like a package of Andrew Wiggins. Probably, I don't know if you really put Terry Rozier in there, and then you find Terry Rozier a third team to get dumped, and you have the Heat send like the Nets trade seek sweetener to eat and buy out Rozier. That's like the only way I think something like that happens. But so we got the Celtics, the Heat. Who else could be in there? The T-Wolves, of course. The Timberwolves deal, supposedly Naz Reid, Julius Randle, and Dante DiVincenzo. If I were the Wolves, I would do Mike Conley, Naz Reid, and Julius Randle. I'd be cool with that. The Grizzlies could be dark horses. We know the Mavericks. The Mavericks deal would be from my understandings, I believe it would be PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and I think there has to be a third contract in there. But outside of that, I think you look at Big Grizzlies, they would probably try to pack it. I mean, that one could be, you could probably see if you could work in a sign and trade and then build a package, a secondary package, because you can do non-simultaneous trades. So sometimes when you see these like 4 or 5 team trades, it's actually not one big trade. It's like multiple non-simultaneous trades. But when it's like reported, they report it as like one large trade. So just for like brevity. And you know, I don't think he's going to end up in Detroit. To me, I think like the craziest situation, because it's not going to be a contending team. I mean, it's got to be a contending team. My apologies. It's not going to be a non-contender. Like the Portland Trail Blazers aren't going to do this deal. Like Portland Trail Blazers are more than likely just going to trade Anthony Simons to like the Orlando Magic. But you look at, who would be another team that could, I mean, depending on how the Cavs, I think the Thunder and the Cavs are the 2 dark horses. Like, even the Knicks, okay? Because I've talked about this. If the Knicks were going to do a package, it wouldn't be around Mikal. You would trade for OG Anunoby, who's, in my opinion, I think the all-around better player. While if the Knicks or the Cavs could do it, probably you'd assume, man, maybe, would it be around Jared Allen? Or would it be basically everyone but? Because you have to get to like $50 million and it's not really easy. And again, guys, I'm like literally walking as I made this video. So this is all off the dome. So yeah, right there you look, it probably have to be Darius Garland and Max Strus put together with obviously draft capital. But I think that's like the most interesting thing about all of it is that balance feasible. I mean, the Thunder, they have plenty of ways to get there and they have money. So to me, I think that's like the bigger picture. Indiana's another one that might want to go big. I think Philadelphia's another one. It's close to home. I've always joked that DC could be one. I mean, Milwaukee try to like get something around Dame and Giannis. I don't know. Really pulling at straws right now, but that was my thoughts.